Hi everybody, my name is Jeff. Today I've got a little footage on this Massey Ferguson 40 tractor that we're working on. It's a loader tractor a friend of ours had. I'm kind of working out a side deal on him paying for it. I'm going to buy the parts and stuff, and I'm going to trade him for a Chevy Tahoe. Get through a rod, put it through the side of the oil pan. Didn't really damage the block that bad. I'll show some footage of that to give you an idea what's going on, and I think we can save the block if he wants to. Otherwise we'll find a used one or see what it costs. It's a Perkins engine, and the way it sounds, new blocks are pretty high price even for a little 3-cylinder. And it's a case that I told him he took it to church too many times because now he's got a holy motor. But anyway, there's a little lathe work in there too that had to make a driver for taking the sleeves out of the cylinders. Sleeves that ends up are only 50 thousandths. When I was making the driver, I couldn't really get down in there to measure the sleeve thickness. Any of the gauges I've got are too big for 3.5-inch bore cylinder, and as far as measuring, there's not really a lip to measure the cylinder edge on, or the sleeve edge I should say. And well, the actual diameter of the telescoping gauge was a 3.600, I think it was. So you make a driver to knock the sleeves out, and I end up turning it back down in the lathe a little bit. You turn the lip on it so it goes inside enough to line her up, and then enough to drive it out yet. And otherwise, just some quick shots of what the tractor looked like coming apart or what it was beforehand. I had a friend of mine help knocking the sleeves out. Of course, I told him I wanted to shoot a video of it, so I had him. He was going to tap them out. Well, he was being a smart ass at the time, so he's doing real light taps on the rod instead of hitting it enough to drive them out. Give him some shit about that. Hope you like it, and if you do, please subscribe. Well, this is another one of the projects in here that it kind of looks like so far that the rod bolts broke. It might be too dark in there to show up, but you can see the rod hanging there with a bolt head in it. It's a cast iron pan on there that it blew out. The block itself is only, it broke out here and here. I'm going to check it for cracks and everything and probably just fix that. Depends on the prices on a block, and if it's light enough in there you can actually see a piece of a piston back in there. And this is a Massey Ferguson 40 tractor. Loader buckets sitting out there. Okay, you got some scrap I-beams around and everything. Making a little stand. Well, it's got a peg for the floor jack there. So when we get ready to split it, where the motor comes off is right up here. And basically we've got everything off the front end and everything now. So what we'll do is bring the cherry picker in, put some straps on the front end here, get the 4 bolts out, move it out of the way and take it outside. And then we'll hook onto the motor, which you get lifting points on the 2 corners here, get the bolts out, and then it'll be setting on the stand there. And then, well, for now we're actually going to take this one out the door, and we've got another one setting outside we need to bring in too, but then we can get the motor apart and everything that way and see exactly what we have to order for that. These are the rams, and one of the, well, this side is actually the part. That's a hydraulic filter down there, and that frame piece is actually the tank for the hydraulics. The rear fenders for it. And this I kind of showed from in the shop is the bucket for it, and the other lower arm for the side that goes back to the axle. And this one over here is the next project waiting to come in. And we're kind of going to do this in between. This is an International 2400A. This is another one I have to take the loader bucket off and everything. Tire on this side's pretty good. The thing hasn't been ran for quite a few years. The bucket's been beat up pretty bad. We'll get some better pictures of that some other time, but And it has sat outside for a while. It doesn't look real bad. This tire is shot. Put air in it, it'll stay up for maybe 5 minutes, but it's all cracked. They had fluid in, so might be lucky and it's just a tire. And it looks like they replaced the gas tank that's on it. This one's another one. It is a gas engine. A little shorter than it was now. Got everything out, and that's what the one connecting rod looks like. When it's bent enough, you can't slide her down out through the cylinder. And so I'm going to take the wrist pin out of it, and you can move it enough to get to the clip to get it out. And actually, the rest of it looks pretty good as far as it is just the flange. It seems to be broke. I'm going to do some tests on it to see if there are any hairline cracks in there, but actually where it's at, it won't matter that much. He found the one piece, so I can braze that one or weld it back on, and probably just build this one up and drill and tap a new hole there, and same back here. I'll probably gouge that all out and just fill it in and drill it and tap new. And bearings have got pretty well normal wear. This one's, you know, if it shows up in the camera, is grooved a little excessive, and the rest are pretty well normal. I'm going to make a sleeve driver. I had one that I made one time for when we did a 4-cylinder and a Super M, or actually just a Farm All M, I guess it was, not a Super M. So I'll probably just make a new adapter for the end of that to fit the sleeves in here and knock them out, and then to put the new ones in. This is a piece of 3/4 inch aluminum. It's about 5-inch diameter. The other one I had done for the Farm All M was out of a piece of steel, but I've got this aluminum around here. 3/4 inch should be good enough. Normally they come out fairly easy. Sometimes you get enough corrosion in the water jacket that they'll stick in there a little better, and sometimes they overheat if they get too hot. There's some of them, I haven't checked on this Massey to see even if it has the rubber seals in or not. If they've got that, they overheat, well, that cooks the seal to the sleeve and the block and makes it a lot harder to get out. All I've done here is I've got a 1/2-inch hole in it, put a 1/2-inch bolt in, tightened up the one nut, and the other nut will go into the chuck then. Not too bad. You probably will face it a little ways in just to give me a better edge, even surface, square it up to the rest of it before in the sleeve. This being a bolt, I'm not sure how much I can take here at a time. First we're wrapping up, so change the tool. For the hell of it. take one of my high-speed ones and put a nice chip breaker on it, and they do a lot nicer. Thousandths cut, 200 off. Usually when you're holding it with a bolt like that, the odds of slipping are a lot better with that heavy of a cut. Probably got about another 500 to go, I believe. Even more than that. Kind of a waste of a nice piece of aluminum. $125 is a little too much. I would have had a new blade for my bandsaw. I could have roughed out that circle on there and would have had some nice pieces of aluminum to melt down for casting. Get it down about where I want it now. I left, basically it'll end up with about a 50,000 shoulder on it. So the OD would be right about 4,700. Now I'm going to take her down and get my final little dip there. Another 35 thousandths to go. Now about 37 thousandths yet for a snug, so I'll take about 39 off probably. Theory, I'm a fuzz short. Almost another 3 thousandths. Thought of that after I set it and started going, and it didn't take quite enough. Let the piece cool down in between. This one I'll go into that shoulder a little bit more to give me a flatter edge. Actually, because of the radius on this insert, I'll probably touch that with my high-speed steel one and finish that off. Give me a more square shoulder, so it's better for that surface. I want to be about a thou or two under. Oops. Move it like that, I can't read it. Of course, the tool's in the way for you to see. About a thou and a half under. I'm not sure is quite enough. I'll take it over and try it and see. As I was saying, the shaft is a little rusty from sitting around. And a bunch of dust on this, but this is a piece I had made before for driving them out and putting them back in even. When you put it in, the little lip on top was a little bigger, so I was using this side then. All I did was throw it in the chuck here, just going to sand it off quick. And I figured I'd show you this piece. It did end up, I needed to take about another, I think it was 15 or 18 thousandths total off it for the OD, because the sleeves, I've got one sitting here. The sleeve is actually only about 50 thousandths wall, and I had figured around 60, so had her a little big. And I'm going to try and get a shot here and have Ron tap it out for you. So, okay. A little bigger taps than that. Once they get moving, they go pretty good normally. And this rod's a little long for doing it on this short motors. Getting the light. There we go. We got the light in the right place now. Okay, this second one went pretty good, so now we'll try the third. One problem is, it doesn't help us on this, is sitting on the engine stand this way, she bounces a little bit, so you're losing part of your impact force. But as I say, it doesn't take a hell of a lot in the first place. But on this third one, it's bouncing even more. Figured I'd try and show you the sleeves actually look real good inside. We can get the light down here to see a little better. You still see the cross hatching inside them. They weren't wore that bad or anything that way. This one does have a chip over here to this side and the other side both, from where the piston pieces hit it. Took pieces out of it. And you can see on the other end here, you can't really hold the light and the camera all at the same time. You got the lip on the top end, is what they set against. And here on the black, you can see the little lip there where those seat in, so they're down flush. Now, since it worked for all three, I got another one to put in stock, so I'll put my stamp on it. Hang it on the wall someplace.